It's time to pick a side. The border war is on the air with BG and 10.
Okay, gang, we are live once again. Episode 110, episode 109 is now available for download in case you missed it. Episode 110, we are here. I am the TanMan. We're here with BG. However you're listening to the show, if there's an option to subscribe or like or review or any of the above, please do so. Help us out. And so episode number 110. I said that once or twice already before. We're going to be talking some baseball. The Atlanta Braves are off to a hot start after a frigid beginning series up in Philadelphia. But before we hit the Braves, we are going to debut a new segment. I apologize for not having a little jingle for my friend here, BG's College Baseball Minute. Take it away, BG.
Well, you're not going to time me, are you? I mean, it's not literally 1 minute. Like 1 minute, you're not going to cut my mic off.
You spent 5 seconds talking about that.
We'll start in Tiger Town with Clemson, who is of the three teams in our box having by far the best season. Clemson sits right now at 24-8 overall. Better than that, though, they're 11-4 and probably the second toughest conference in college baseball. For all of the world right now, it looks like they're setting themselves up to host another regional just like they did last year.
Here we go again.
And lose in 2 games. Clemson took 2 out of 3 from Louisville over the weekend. Ended up losing the last game there on Sunday. They've got Furman in Clemson. I was checking to see if it was at Fluor. They've already played them once.
That one, I think.
And they've got a weird thing with Georgia where they played them once and then they're playing them again way later, just one game and then one game. But yeah, they've got Furman tomorrow night before going on the road to take on Florida State in Tallahassee this weekend. That'll be a big series. But Florida State's never an easy out.
I was going to ask you, how's Florida State been doing this year?
To be honest, I'm not sure. You didn't prep me that you were going to ask me that question.
But I give you the rundown.
Well, the thing on here is these websites for college baseball, it may be becoming more popular. They're still pretty hard to get a lot of information on. So if you want to, you look up Florida State baseball schedule and we'll find out what the record is. I'm going to move on up to Chapel Hill, North Carolina. You guys sort of in the middle right now. You're sitting at 23-9 overall. Still just 7-5 in the conference. But again, that's counting that opening week sweep to Clemson on the road. So really doing pretty well in the conference since then. You guys actually lost a series this weekend to Georgia Tech in Atlanta. You won the first game, but then lost the last 2. One of those was pretty close. And you got a busy week coming up in Chapel Hill. You've got a game tonight versus UNC Greensboro, and then a game tomorrow night against Davidson, something called Bark at the Bosch. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah, you bring your dogs.
Okay.
You bring your dogs to the ballpark.
Okay, and then a pretty big series this weekend up in South Bend against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, whose baseball season is just beginning to resemble baseball weather. In fact, it could still be in the 40s up there.
Florida State is 19-12 and 7-8 in the ACC.
Okay, so not having a typical Florida State season, I'd be really surprised if Clemson doesn't take at least 2 of those games. And then back to North Carolina, a week from tonight in Charlotte, go up in a 1-game series against the South Carolina Gamecocks, who are, of course, having a terrible baseball season. Show a little bit of promise this weekend. What's that?
We're going,
right?
Not. Why?
Huh?
Let's go, man.
It's a Tuesday night.
So what?
We'll talk about
45 minutes up the road.
I will tell you no off the air.
You're going to tell me no all the time. You never do anything with me. Other than this show, you never invite me anywhere.
This show is plenty. Okay. So, Carolina over the weekend drops 2 out of 3 to Alabama, who is one of the worst teams in the nation. Crimson Tide, I think, went into that game batting as a team about 180. They absolutely scorched South Carolina pitching. Yeah. It is not good. I'm not going to make excuses because despite the young arms and injuries, South Carolina should be playing better than it is now, especially against a team versus Alabama. And I think at this point there's some confidence issues.
What's the buzz around the program like? Because we've talked about it before. Toward the end of the Holbrook era, people were just completely checked out. I get this is Kingston's second year.
I think the take is that the media take is that fans are fed up, but I mean that means nothing because if they
that's what I asked. What's the fan buzz around? Because like I said, he's dealt with a lot of injuries down there this year, so it's not completely fair to.
I think
throw all
the
this
non-vocal fans that are not on Twitter and message boards probably realize the truth, and that is that he won last year with Holbrook's players that Holbrook probably would not have won with, that he did a better job coaching when he did have talent. 2 of our 3 starting pitchers this year, one didn't make it to the season at all before blowing his arm out. The next one, Mazinski, gets hurt in the opening series. You've got true freshman pitching. I think he's made a mistake by not starting Reed Morgan on Friday nights. Reed Morgan's your best chance for a win. Now, Reed Morgan had some comments after last week's close loss, which he just didn't get any offensive support against the Crimson Tide, but he kind of implied there were players on the team that didn't seem to care about winning or losing. And I don't know if those are upperclassmen or if those are guys that Kingston brought in because he didn't name any names. But it does not get easier. Take on the Charlotte 49ers tonight. That's a good baseball team. And then, oh boy, this weekend at Florida in Gainesville, we will get swept. I promise you, Florida is a juggernaut. And then we've got you guys next Tuesday, like I already said, in Charlotte.
So like I said, you're staring down the barrel of losing, 4 out of the next 5?
I tweeted after that Alabama series, this is no longer a team that even needs to be talking about playoffs, okay? This is a team that just needs to be developing talent at this point. You're really sort of like I said about South Carolina basketball last season, not this past season, but last year. Yeah. That we really just I just want to see them getting better. So that's what I want to see from these guys. And I mean, to Kingston's credit, he had a true freshman on the mound. I think it was supposed to be Thursday, but it was a doubleheader on Friday. Mm-hmm. We were off for spring break. I think the first game was at 2:30. We gave up an 8 spot in the first inning. This kid gets absolutely cooked. And what you're seeing, look, though, this is what you see. Okay, keep in mind now, one of these kids is 17. Okay, he's not 18 years old yet. And he's starting on Friday nights. And he's got nasty stuff. And he gets them at 0-2. But he doesn't pitch smart. Then he throws a fastball right down the middle or hangs a breaking ball. Doesn't pitch around the corner. Doesn't waste a couple of pitches to see if you can get the guy to chase. So some of it is not a talent issue, but that is coaching too, right? So I mean, I'm not flushing Mark Kingston away yet, but this season needs to get better because if it just bottoms out this season, then yeah, I think we're going to go into next season with a whole lot of negative emotion, and that's not what anybody wants. So that's where we are.
Well, I say, hopefully the Gamecocks can get it turned around and make at least the last half of the baseball season interesting, salvageable
again,
for you guys.
There is no chance they make the playoffs. I mean, I don't even think winning out would do it. I think we're at that point. Like, that's over.
Already?
No, they will not make a regional. I don't see how it's possible. I don't.
Okay, well, you heard it here first, folks. BG is throwing in the towel on the Gamecocks baseball season. Moving on to the Atlanta Braves, BG. The Braves, of course, they opened up in Philadelphia and got absolutely shellacked by the Phillies. Turns out the Phillies have done that to pretty much everybody they've played. I think they averaged something like 8 or 9 runs a game. Since then, they've got a sweep of the Cubs. They take 2 of 3 against the Marlins. They dropped
the game they should have won.
They start off the short road trip out to the Midwest, getting one against the Rockies last night. BG, give me your take on the start of the Braves season.
Well, I think the thing that has stood out to me the most has been starting pitching. And the Braves have had some bullpen issues. They certainly had bullpen issues last year. So when you got pitchers that can take you into the 6th and 7th, you feel better about things. And Snit he's managed that way this year. He's left guys in there. Julio Teheran got blown up a little bit last night in Colorado, but that will happen in Colorado. He pitched 5 innings where they couldn't touch him. Then that third time through the rotation, they kind of lit him up a little bit, but again, he kept him in. A really nice start by Kevin Gausman last week. Kyle Wright has had 2 starts, I believe. Looked a little rough in his first one, and he didn't look great in his second start, but ended up losing that game. But he kept them in the game, and that's really what you're looking for. If you're starting pitching for Atlanta can keep teams to 3 and 4 runs, you think more often than not this offense is going to score 5 or 6 runs.
Yeah.
So, to me, the optimal Atlanta win this year looks something like, Atlanta Braves 5, other team 3.
Yeah.
That's the game you want. And then to me, the most impressive start all season of the games I've watched, which are most of them, was from a relief pitcher, Max Fried, who comes on and just dominates for 7 innings. Had a perfect game going through 6. Just a 12-6 curveball that could not be touched over and over and over. And, a lot of times with relief pitchers or guys that are traditionally relief pitchers, they're a 2-pitch guys. So that second time through the order, that rock, paper, scissors thing starts to go towards the hitters, man. Yeah. He could have kept going.
Well, one thing with you hit on it. The biggest hole in the Atlanta Braves roster right now is the bullpen. Just my opinion, I think you're going to wind up seeing. We've talked about before the season about how they have all these starting pitchers. They've got all these young arms. You got Fultonevich, who's starting a rehab. He's starting to throw some now. Soroka's getting in to some minor league starts now as well. I think you may see someone like Max Fried
or Kevin Gausman,
or Kyle Wright. I think you could see, you could see a couple of these guys get sent to the bullpen to try and help some of that out because, like I said, you only have so many starting rotation spots, and when Fultonevich comes back, he's going to have one of them.
And of course, if a deal is ever made for another closer, then you've got Vizcaino able to move up to pitch the 7th or the 8th inning, something like that. But I don't know. It seems to be getting late early on that thing. It just doesn't have that feel anymore.
I think eventually it gets done, but I think Kimbrel's to the point now where he's played the hand. He's played his hand so long. Like, okay, why? What's the rush from Craig Kimbrel's side? Because he's clearly not going to get his whatever he wants, his 4 years or his 5 years. He's not getting all that. So, what? Okay, the deal you're going to get now is the same deal you're going to get in June or July. Why not just wait it out and see how the season starts shaping itself out? Maybe a guy goes down. Maybe somebody needs him to handle the back end of a bullpen for a playoff contender. So
yeah.
I think eventually it'll get done because I think
that's going to help the bullpen, obviously.
I think both sides want Craig Kimbrel.
No, and I think he wants to be there.
He wants to be here. But from his side, look, he's like I said, he's played his hand. There's no, at this point, the season started. He's missed all spring training. There's no big rush to get in right now.
From the offensive side of the ball, obviously, you've got Brian McCann now on the 10-day DL, but I hear...
Whoa. It's not DL. It's IL.
IL.
It's IL.
Sorry.
The injured list.
I was being football. It should be the DL. It scared me when it happened, but he walked off the field. I think more than likely he's back as soon as that time is up. You hear rumors that this Jackson kid they brought up from Gwinnett is going to be the thing, that he's showing off in batting practice, but it has not translated to in-game bats. He's batting 143 right now. We talked about it before the season started. How was this moving Ronald Acuna Jr. to the cleanup spot going to work out? And from a home run standpoint, it's worked well. He's hit 3, but he only has 6 RBIs, and he's only batting 176.
That batting average has got to come up.
But I'll tell you who it has really benefited is Freddie Freeman, or rather Freeman has done a great job transitioning into that 3-spot role because I laugh at it all the time. I don't know how long does it take conventional wisdom on a batter to change? Because Freeman comes up, man, and some teams have their third baseman standing behind the second base bag, and he just plops it into left field over and over and over. In fact, Jeff Francoeur was talking the other night saying, look, this guy's got whatever it was at the time, 13 hits, and 10 of them have been opposite field. What are y'all doing? I mean, because Freeman has turned into a smart hitter. He knows that his power is on the downhill side, and he's learned to go opposite field, and and I'll tell you what else he's got is 10 walks. Freeman has become a very wily hitter, and he is getting on base for Acuna. So when Acuna comes around,
they're giving Freddie Freeman the TanMan shift. Softball teams used to. My buddy said, if I ever played you in softball, he said I'd put 11 guys on the left side of the infield because there's nothing you could do. You're not going to hit the ball to right field. He was right.
Yeah.
And so they just move everybody over to that side of the field, and I would have to find a spot about the size of a small box to get the ball in to get a hit.
But Inciarte has done a good job at the leadoff spot. He's batting .325. He's done a good job getting on base. Guys like Markakis continue to step up. I think he's just kind of a mercenary now on his one-year deal somewhere next year, 1 year deal the year after that. But the story to me early on is easily Dansby Swanson. He's 3 home runs, 12 RBIs. He's batting .333. I believe last night they had him batting all the way up to 6th.
And look, Dansby Swanson has been the thorn in the side of Braves fans' side for many years now. I think he was someone that when they traded for him, everybody thought, he's going to be the next Chipper Jones. And it took him a little while to kind of get comfortable in that role. He's on pace to hit 48 home runs now.
Well,
he might hit 60 if this keeps up.
If it keeps up. Hey, look, and I think he's going to come back down to earth a little bit. But let's be honest. I mean,
party pooper.
With his defense, and let's be honest now, his defense is sick. He took away 2 extra base hits last night because of the way that the Braves were shifted on defense. They would have been gappers if he hadn't gotten them. Would have gone right down that right field power alley.
I think
and gotten away, but just spears both of them. What's a realistic batting average for him to be 260? If he bats 260, man, I think he's going to do that.
What did he bat last year?
Like 221, I think was what it ended up
somewhere around
at.
260, 275. I think they're whining. I think everybody will take that.
But again, if he's driving in these runs, man, it's not just the home runs. And I don't know if you saw this the other night, but the Marlins I guess it was on Sunday, bring in 5 infielders on him, and he sort of just has this look on his face like, all right, y'all think I can't hit it out of the infield? Puts it 380 feet into the stands on the first pitch. Love it.
I've always liked Dansby Swanson. I
like the high Sox guys, man.
I thought he kind of got basically crapped on.
We've talked about it in the offseason. I said I thought his main problem were people's expectations of him.
Exactly. But you just hit it, man. Their defense is top of the night. Top of the league, good. Swanson, Albies up the middle.
Their battery is. Their second base shortstop combo is as good as anybody in the league. And Donaldson has really upgraded that defense at third base too. I've seen him now.
He's got to swing the bat, man. He stinks at the plate right now.
Well, yeah, but he has a Road Warrior animal haircut, so I'm willing to give him a lot of leeway.
So you get a lot of rope if you got a Road Warrior.
You look like animal. He is, man. He's my all-time favorite. I love some animal.
If you look around the NL East, I think the NL East right now is absolutely loaded. I think the Phillies. Listen, you spend that kind of money, you expect results. Right now, the Phillies are getting them. One team that I think it was fair to expect a step back from is the Nationals. Losing Harper on it. Listen, the Nationals are hanging right around in there. So I think the Mets. Let's not forget about the Mets. So I think the NL East has got.
We can forget about the Mets if you want to.
Well, listen, at some point during the year, we're going to be able to forget about the Mets because they're going to play
for right now,
themselves.
We have to.
And they're going to play themselves back to the bottom of the division like they do every year. But for now, for now they're not the Miami Marlins. ESPN, the power rankings are out. Very early. They've got Atlanta sitting at 8.
Seems about right.
Well, I was going to say, look, if you take that first 3 games away, where, like I said, Philadelphia just boat raced them.
Where are they, relatively speaking, in the NL? That's what always interests me.
What, you mean like standings?
No, or is that the power rankings for the National League?
No. Let's see. They've got the Dodgers at 1, and this might be a day or two old. So anyway, the Dodgers at 1, Phillies at 2, Brewers at 3, Mets at 4. And so then the Braves would be the 5th National League team coming in.
I'd be comfortable putting them even 4th.
And then, like I said, 3 of those teams we just said, or 2 of them are in the East. The Nationals are a couple slots down. So the NL East, man, it's going to be a dogfight this season.
Speaking of that, the Braves not getting a night off anytime soon. They haven't had one in about 5 days. They finish up tonight in Colorado and tomorrow an early game in Colorado before flying back to Atlanta. They do not miss a beat. A Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday home series with the Mets. So 4 games right there. Obviously, that's a big early series.
Right
and then they stay right there. And get 2 days off. Okay, so after that Sunday they just get Monday off, and then the Diamondbacks come into town before the Braves head out for a interleague matchup with the Indians, but we'll be previewing that at another time. So 4 games coming up with the Braves. Right now, series with the Rockies, it seems like they've caught Colorado at a good time because Colorado's not playing good baseball. They tried to come back a little bit last night, but the Colorado bats are really cold, and it's a good time. You want to play them while they're not hitting because once they start, you don't want to be in that stadium.
Colorado has become a team that plays a lot better, it seems like, the last few years toward the end of the season than they do at the beginning. So I think you're right. I think Atlanta's catching them just right at the right time. They had a home series with the Marlins. They kind of fly in, fly right back out.
And they should have been 6-0 on that homestand.
Should have been.
I mean, they had the pitching. The bats were cold. That one, was it Saturday? Yeah, it was Saturday against the Marlins. But, I mean, people are like, you lost to the Marlins. I'm like, well, look, you took 12 out of 15 against them last year. You're not going to beat them every single time you play. But
the Marlins stink, and they're going to win 60 games. Somebody's going to lose to the Marlins 60 times this year. So that was one of them. Okay.
I feel bad for Martin Prado. I mean, you watch Martin in the dugout. He does more coaching.
I forgot even where he was.
Well, I did too. And let me tell you what, man. When I tell you that he does not look one day older than he did his rookie year in Atlanta, I mean, he is ageless. He's got to be
Martin
35,
Prado.
Right?
35,
36.
He's been around for a while, it seems like.
Yeah, but Don Mattingly just sort of hanging out in the dugout, and Prado's doing most of the managing. I mean, I think he's definitely angling for that.
Like Martin Prado and Matt Diaz. Like for years, Matt Diaz hung around the league, and I had no idea where he was.
What's your opinion on Frank Gore in the booth?
He's all right. My buddy hates him. My buddy says
he seems to be an either-or kind of thing. I'll tell you, he's really grown on me, and I'll tell you why. Because, we both grew up watching the same broadcast team. If anybody ever said anything bad about Pete Van Wieren or Skip Carey on the street to me, I would fight them right then and there. Two of my favorit people ever.
I concur.
Yeah. Skip's obviously Chip is not a chip off the old block. He's barely functional. And Frank Gore, to me, brings the element that I'm looking for. He doesn't replace any of those guys, don't get me wrong, but the element that Skip Carey had, which was that you felt like you were listening to a guy that was in the room with you, just talking about stuff. Right? And Frank Gore's got all those great stories of being in the locker room, and he does have a lot of baseball knowledge. I don't really understand what it is people don't like about him.
What I want from my home team baseball,
that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you've got the ESPN crew that's the standard buttoned up corporate. But when I watch a Braves game on, I guess it's all on Fox Sports now. Well, it used to be on TBS, and longing for the days. Anyway, what I want from a home baseball announcer is stories. I want a little bit of quirkiness.
Yeah.
I don't want corporate America like some of these guys on ESPN are
and you
now.
just described him to a T.
Right. Yeah. I want someone who's a little who says weird things where you look at the person next to you and be like, huh?
Yeah, and
that's okay.
And I want you to broadcast with the assumption that you're talking to people that are watching night after night after night, so that over the course of a season, you feel like you develop sort of this relationship like this is a friend of yours. That's the feeling you should give off.
And what I really want is for, if I ever go to a game and catch a foul ball, I want you to say, oh, the fan from Spartanburg leaves with a souvenir. That's what I want from a baseball announcer.
And I would like pro wrestling not to suck while we're wishing, but it's too late, man.
Have you seen some of the views from some of those seats from WrestleMania?
Well, it was in MetLife Stadium,
right.
So I can only assume.
I saw somebody tweet
a wrestling ring, if you've never been to a match, they're comically small.
They're
people.
small, man. I saw someone tweet out a picture of the view from one of the seats from somewhere back at the Final Four the other night. And they're like, how are you charging people for this? And you talked about when you're behind the basket at that Final Four, you're like, you're miles away.
Yeah.
Even on the lower deck, you're miles away. And I'm thinking, okay, you got a problem with that? Go pull up some of these pictures from people's seats at WrestleMania.
If you put a wrestling ring on the dead center of the 50-yard line, I mean, we're probably talking about like the 46 to the 46, right? I mean, it's not.
It's not even that.
I was about to say, it might not be that big. And it's square, so you can go that far to the other side too.
The thing is, they set the light fixtures, up around the ring. So, like, if you're sitting in the corner, like say you're sitting at the corner of a ring, like the whole middle of the ring is completely obstructed. You don't see anything. It's insane.
Well, if you ever get the chance to go watch Jimmy Valiant wrestle in Spartanburg, say no, people. He's like 87 years old. His arms are the size of toothpicks, and you feel bad about being a part of it.
What about Jeff Francoeur? Would you go watch Jeff Francoeur wrestle in Spartanburg?
As long as he wasn't wrestling Jimmy Valiant, then yes, I would.
What if he was?
I would not. Even though he's a close personal friend of mine because I watch every Braves broadcast.
I think I would go watch it.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're sold in on him, though, because he's doing about half their commercials.
Well, look, here's my thing. If you don't like Jeff Francoeur for whatever reason, okay, fine. Do you really want to go back to the Boog Sciambi days? Where someone like him was the main announcer?
Yeah, you can't.
Oh, man, he was the worst. Sciambi was the worst, man.
They'll never get him, but I tell you who would do a great job taking Chip's place would be a guy like Mike Morgan. But he's owned by ESPN now, so that's not going anywhere. But I think we all know why Chip's there.
His name was Chip Jackson. Would he be a baseball announcer?
He would be an assistant principal in a middle school. Not a very good one at that.
Got a Marty Brennaman story I have to tell you off the air one time.
Okay.
I can tell it to you on there, I guess. One time, watching a Reds game, parents lived in Ohio. Marty Brennaman, I think he was famous for hitting the sauce during the broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
no, I've heard that.
So he's sitting up there, it's July, they've got the big windows and everything open. He's watching the game, and all of a sudden, I guess his cell phone falls off the ledge down to the crowd. And so during the game, he's on the air, like leaning out the window going, "My phone is ringing. Someone's calling me right now." I was like, I don't know if he ever got his phone back. I'm sure he did. But then Marty Brennaman leaning out over the edge of the thing. My phone's down there.
I'll tell you, I grew up watching baseball. Stuff like that is what makes it such a great game. The time that is spent waiting on the next thing to happen is why it's such a great sport. And it's also probably going to be the death of it as a sport. But, I grew up watching the Braves with my dad. And my dad passed away at the beginning of this school year. And so I hadn't watched the Braves religiously probably in 10 years. I mean, the last time I remember watching them a lot was still when Teixeira was with the team. And so the past few years we started doing the show, and I try to catch, parts of 50, 60 games here and there, but this season, maybe sort of as a tribute to my dad, maybe just because I was ready again, kind of hungry for watching baseball. But I have forgotten, man, how much I enjoy watching a baseball game. I really do get a lot out of it. I mean, like, and it is a game that you have to pay attention to. You know, you can casually watch it, but you're not going to get out of it. I mean, I love just watching the individual pitchers. And that's why I've been so excited about the Braves pitchers, is just watching guys set up guys for the next time they face them, right? The strategy of stuff like that. I hate these ideas of these rules that you're going to have three minimum batters per relief pitcher.
No, I love
stuff
that.
Like you
I love
that. I think it takes some of the strategy out of the game, man. I do.
Look, man. If you come in the game, you ought to at least. If you're a pitcher, you shouldn't be. You know,
I have seen guys pitch one pitch,
one pitch,
out,
and then get somebody else in there. Man, stop it. If he comes in, then he's got to stay in, man. If he comes in, he's got you're way off base with that one.
No,
I like the baseball on the radio.
No, there's nothing better than baseball on the radio. That's in fact, I think Don Sutton does the Braves broadcast.
I don't know.
On the radio.
I can't find them on the radio here. I don't know where they are.
I guess you'd have to just do tune in or something and try to find them that way.
They've disappeared.
Maybe you and I should start calling every Braves game over the air, and we could become the new Braves radio broadcast team.
That's an interesting theory.
I mean, it's a thought. It's a thought. I mean, but I don't really want to spend every night doing that. It's a great idea, but you might ought to find somebody else, TanMan. I don't think I'm your guy.
Well, listen, we've tried numerous times to get help in the room, and we've been rebuffed at every turn. So I think it's me and you, big fella.
It seems to be.
All right, that's it for episode 110. BG and the TanMan are out of here. You can follow us on Twitter. I'll just give you the show Twitter, @TheBorderWar. I'll let you figure the rest out. I'll give BG a break. We're on Facebook. Like and share our page on Facebook. And you also email the show at CarolinaBorderWar@gmail.com. See you guys next week.